Sorry, I do not want to have that go unchallenged. The stealing the rights is absolute nonsense, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr.
Can you please ask to withdraw? That's accusing us of basically interceding in the legal process. And this is absolutely inappropriate. We have challenged Councillor Lee for the way in which he conducts himself in here. I challenge him to stop racking up the debate and accusing us of things that we're not guilty of.
I am speaking the truth.
Just, Madam Chair.
I am speaking the truth.
Completely subjective.
You aren't. Okay.
Nonsense.
Can we just have a... Councillor Lee, the question has been raised. We'd like you to withdraw and apologise for the slight on council, the accusations of doing our job.
What are the words I must apologise for? Look,
for stealing the rights
I
of
am
the
saying
community.
that the continuous non-notification of resource consents amounts to a stealing of people's civil rights.
We
just need to be really clear.
It does.
Point of order, Madam Chair. The councillor is using the opportunity to re-litigate an outrageous statement he's already made and has been challenged by you on that.
Councillor,
he just either withdraws and apologises or doesn't say anything else.
It's a metaphor. He's used a metaphor.
Councillors, let's not extend a rather ill-chosen metaphor and a rather unpleasant turn of phrase. Councillor, would you like to withdraw and apologise for that statement as an indictment on the...
I apologise to the people of Auckland for the way this council is conducting but I will not apologise for saying
that's quite enough.
refusing people a legal right to have a say is stealing their civil rights.
That is quite enough. Thank you. That is quite enough grandstanding, and it's about time we clarified two things. We operate within the Resource Management Act, and we're also operating in an environment that currently has operating a government working party to look at cutting the red tape and removing the rights of people to be heard further. We are doing everything we can to uphold the rights of our community to be heard in a practical way. I resent on behalf of my colleagues and the staff who are upholding the law, the comments you make, and that's enough from you. Thank you very much. I think you are misleading the public deliberately, and it is inappropriate. Councillor Brewer?
Okay, it's a hard act to follow, that one. I'll try and change the tempo, but thank you, Madam Chair. I'll keep it brief.
It's been promised before, no one's followed through.
I know, okay, I'll keep it non-controversial anyway. The Mayor put that Councillor Casey's amendment was arguably a slight on the good work of the staff, but I have reservations that it's actually the top part of your chairman's recommendation, Madam Chair, that we're going to tie the staff up in knots as they review once again the processes involved in quote assessing and granting the resort consent applications, when we have effectively gone through a 3.5 hour courtroom review and cross-examination process now. I would see that it is regrettable that if staff are asked to go into any more detail other than collate what they've already given us. I think we all agree that rather than spending too much time on this specific case, as we already have in 3 committees and so forth, that we have a look as to the impact, perceived or real, of the RMA reforms in the last 5 years, and particularly around, as Councillor Darby mentioned, the impact of revoking the blanket tree protection rules. I know they don't apply in this instance, but we need to get a real sense in this wider review as to yes, we're hearing that there's thousands of unnecessary consents that are now being avoided, but have we as a council and as a city and as a region got the balance right? And so when we go to central government on its current review of its reform program, we as elected members and the public need a real sense as to the reforms, the streamlining and simplification, the 09, the 13 reforms. Have we got the balance right, and where could potential amendments be made to ensure that? Again, I would like to side with the staff, as the Mayor has done, as far as working within their statutory role and within the overall guidelines, policies and program of this council. They have, this again is a process that has gone through an exhaustive RMA process requiring a resource consent to remove. They've told us today, Madam Chair, they've taken us through the planning assessment, the arborist reports, the ecologist reports, all the visitations, the fact that they took much longer than the 20 working statutory day requirement, of the officers' agreement, of the commissioners' visitations and work, of the strict conditions imposed. And frankly, we have done 40 and 42 to death today, and again I'd like to see the emphasis of officers on the wider 5-year review of what's working and not working. What this has shown to us, though, for me,
back a little bit, Councillor,
is that the communication with the local board and the iwi, while it has ticked that box, we certainly need to make changes to ensure that the Commissioner's report back acknowledges receipt of that information and gives at least gives some kind of view on local boards' input. And the talk of this site containing vegetation rather than the specification of 200-year-old kauri or rimu trees is flagrantly inadequate. And that I would say could be seen as disingenuous, and it is only the hard work and local knowledge of the Waitakere Rangers local board that's been able to kind of get through that issue. Many local boards would scant over the vegetation claim and be none the wiser. So we do need to tighten up on what we're telling our local boards, what we're telling our iwi, and how commissioners are reporting back to how they are interpreting and understanding and ruling on local boards' views, and in this case opposition. So I welcome this review, Madam Chair, but I certainly do not hope that it's a witch hunt of any sort over this particular case, because I want, as we all do, want to empower our staff, want to give our independent commissioners every confidence to make the best decisions and not have them running scared that their next decision could result in a series of political meetings and grandstandings.
Okay, thank you. Final word, Councillor Quacks.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and I will be very, very brief. And I will be supporting the two substantive motions on board A and B. As much as I have sympathy with Councillor Casey's resolution up there, I won't be supporting it because it flies in the face of the delegated authority that we've actually given to people, and how important it is to remove the political, to remove the politicians from these kind of decisions. And that is why the review is important, because that will give us some idea of where we went right, where we went wrong. And I've got to say that they have acted lawfully. They've done everything. They've done everything by the letter of the law. They may have got, there may be some issues there that could have been more robust, but in fact they've done everything right. And I've got to just say here, Madam Chair, so has Mr. Lenihan, and it seems that he's acted lawfully in everything that he has done. He's done everything that is required of him, and yet in some respects he's being painted here as the villain of the piece. In actual fact, he's not the villain of the piece. He is a victim, and his property has been subjected, his own private property has been subjected to invasion, and he's even been, as I understand it, he's even been threatened with physical harm, and that is not the sort of thing that we want to see. We want to see as many trees as possible saved. Of course we do. But at the same time, Mr. Lenihan, I think, has acted appropriately and legally in this, lawfully, and so I must say that I feel very sorry for him and his family and what has occurred in all this. But I do support the review, but I will not be supporting Councillor Casey's amendment.
Okay, so let's just step through how this is going to work. We'll deal with Councillor Casey and Councillor Watson's recommendation. I'm going to signal... By division? Yes, of course, everything by division. Should that fail, I'm going to foreshadow a recommendation which is just being put together now, which sets out quite clearly the process that we have adopted, which is to continue to work with the landowner on resolving these issues, which will, I'm sure, result in the saving of the Kāori tree, because along with the Mayor, despite my passion to see this resolved, I think that Councillor Casey's recommendation is enthusiastic but not appropriate. So I'm going to put this by division.
So councillors, you're going to be voting on Councillor Casey's amendment, second by Councillor Watson. I'll be doing that manually because obviously Jamie's working on...
Clarification?
Oh, sorry, quick
clarification,
yes.
Madam Chair. We have 5 members of the Hearings Committee here. I'm very concerned, and I'd like some legal advice as to whether any of the Hearings Committee people can vote on D, because it could predetermine if we have to make a notification decision on these properties again, when they ask if it's sold and somebody else wants to do something. I'm really...
No, hang on.
Madam Chair, can you please ask the member not to interrupt me? I'm trying to ask a question.
It's James to clarify.
Yeah, thank you, James.
So you're talking about motion D?
Yes, because that's what we've been asked to vote on.
Councillor Casey's one. Puts us in a very awkward position.
It's your choice. Individual choice.
No, it's not. It's Hearings Committee.
I'll just give James a second while we also get the other.
Sorry, I am struggling to see any necessary conflict in all councillors being involved in this one.
But thank
so
you.
I would be comfortable in you're all voting.
Just right. Always good to check. So we'll put that by division, and councillors and members, you're voting on D.
His Worship the Mayor?
No.
Councillor Brewer?
No.
Councillor Casey?
Yes.
Councillor Cashmore?
No.
Councillor Clow?
Yes.
Councillor Cooper?
No.
Councillor Darby?
Yes.
Councillor Fletcher?
For.
Councillor Crum?
Against.
Councillor Lee?
Aye.
Member Namane?
Yes.
Councillor Quacks?
No.
Councillor Stewart?
No.
Member Taipari?
Aye.
Councillor Wayne Walker?
Yes.
Councillor Watson?
Yes.
Councillor Webster?
No.
Councillor Wood?
No.
Deputy Mayor Hulse?
Huge reluctance, no.
Regrettable.
None of us wanted to vote against it.
No.
We had to.
It's a very unfair recommendation, actually.
It was very unfair. We often get these unfair recommendations.
Wasting time on senseless amendments?
Yes.
Who made that one?
Someone said that.
Playing to the public gallery? That one.
It's lost 9 to 10.
Okay, so we've got the next recommendation, which hopefully will go the one after A. So we've got A and B councillors. I'm going to put that. That's myself and Councillor Cooper's recommendation. Can we just make it so people can make sure they know what we're voting on? A and...
A, B and C.
A, B and C. Can we put that all on one page? It's very hard for people to vote when they can't be absolutely clear what they're voting on. Right. So A, B and C, I will put that. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? That's fantastic. Thank you all. Now, I do acknowledge the long morning we've had. It's exactly 1 o'clock. We're going to adjourn for half an hour, and we will be back at 1:30. Thank you all.